Hello and welcome back to the TrekCraft server. Yeah, this will be an update for the Enterprise D here. Every time I log in, I find something new around this build that wasn't here before. Like this, the other day I logged in, there was this big Terran thing here. So I guess we're building the Terran Enterprise D. Interesting. So yeah, I've been working on this Enterprise D here for a bit. I've been going through each deck in the saucer. Now I do have work done all the way into the neck, but we're going to disregard all the neck stuff and just focus on the saucer, and then eventually get into the neck and redo everything in the neck. Now this has been a lot of reworking, and there's a lot I would like to still do, but I can't because that would fundamentally alter the interior layout of the ship in a way that would take us back to like almost zero start, and I don't feel like doing that. So yeah. Anyways, what I've been doing is I've been going through all these decks one by one, and I just finished up the primary rework of deck 8. And oh, somebody wants me to critique stuff. Hold on. So, anyways, but I've been dropping the decks down out of the ship, being careful not to remove parts of the ship. I have plenty of room to work down here. I think I can go one more deck, probably deck 9. Then I have to, rethink my math here about how I want to do stuff. But yeah, just so I can kind of get a feel for it. As you can see here, kind of steps down like that, and we get down over here. Let me close that door here. Somebody decided they wanted to play with a hose outside and squirt windows. Never fails. Every time I start to record, something wants my attention or makes annoying noises to piss me off. So, anyways, I would edit that out, but I'm lazy and I'm not going to edit that out. So, yeah, real life meets Minecraft. That's just the way it works. So, as I work through here, I try to find little areas that need touch up and fixing and things like that, and then I go through and I fundamentally change things, trying not to alter the hull work in any ways. You can see a lot of the hull work is out here and stuff like that, and it's really tricky because they Aztec the hull, so in order to protect the hull, I have to copy the hull out and make copies of the hull. And yeah, you can see here it's easy enough. If I make a mistake, I just reverse the colors and then everything's fine. But hopefully I haven't had any issues where I've had to make that decision, that edit. So yeah, we'll start up here. You can kind of look here on deck 1B, and this is the deck right below the bridge module. And I did a little bit of reworking and stuff like that. It's actually 2 levels because right above this, right here, this turbo lift is actually a Jeffrey's tube that kind of goes along the turbo lift and into this area back here. So the turbo lifts are actually on the deck below this, down here on this deck, and actually this deck. You see there's very little room in here to work on it, but the only reason this is in here is because I have to have it for everything else below it. But yeah, and then we get down here and drop down here, deck 3, and then deck 4, then deck 5 is the hangar, and yeah, deck 4 should be the hangar, but spacing between deck 1 and deck down here, it's 5. So I would have had a deck 1, deck 1B, deck 2, deck 2B, deck 3, deck 4 would be hangar. Then but it is what it is. You got to work with what you got, and this is what we're working with here. And then you get down here and you have this big, huge parking bay down here with green topped runabouts. Yeah. See around here you got crew quarters on this deck here. Mostly crew quarters on this deck here. Now, in a lot of cases, a lot of these rooms, like you see here, this one doesn't have a door on it. Neither does this one. None of these have doors on them. And the main reason for that is not sure what we're going to put in them yet, and not sure of the column spacings, how they're going to lay in. And so I try not to put a door in unless I absolutely have to. Like, crew quarters, it's a different story because, but again, I tried not to, like on a corner here, you can see how they can sort of kind of still put columns there if they want to do a column spacing around this area here, things like that. So it just, square blocks, round ship, oval ship in this case, sometimes they just don't line up. And I've noticed that, like, if we come up here, they did put in a bunch of windows, and Yeah, I tried to keep things aligned with the windows, but you can see right here, a lot of these windows are going to have to be redone because there's just simply no way to do something on the inside and have them match up with the windows on the outside. It's just fundamentally impossible to do that. And I took the Sternbach plans and I cut them up. I made copies, I printed them out, I trimmed them up, and then I laid the outer layer over each of the deck layers and I marked out each window where it's supposed to go, and none of the windows line up with anything on the interior of that ship, which fundamentally proves my point. The deck plans windows on the outside of the ship are there for pure cosmetic purposes. They do not line up to a damn thing inside of the secondary hull. And you got these funky windows like this one. I mean, what the what what what? They just don't make any sense. So yeah, the windows will. Some of the windows will have to be redone, and you know, I tried to line them up best I could, but when you get down into the nitty gritty of it, no joy. So yeah, they just got to be redone, or just slightly bumped over, readjusted just a little bit, nudged a little bit, and then they'll be fine. But yeah, and down here on deck 8, we've got this deck 7 and deck 8, deck 9, I think part of deck 10. Even up here into deck 7, we got this big grotto. Now, it's my suggestion that we base this grotto off of the Singapore airport. It has the world's largest indoor waterfall, and it's just a massive grotto. If you've ever seen it or seen pictures of it, then yeah, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's utterly huge on the inside, and it would fit perfectly in here. Although I believe the space in here is substantially larger than that for the Singapore airport, but still, I mean, the concept and stuff of what they did for that place could easily work for a grotto on board the Enterprise D. So that's going to be my suggestion moving forward. And I think that's kind of where they were heading at in a way through here, because you can see all this work in here was done, and I think that's where they were going. They were just trying to make the grotto a very livable space for people to come and just, forget they're in space. Because it would suck to be in space and only look outside and see stars. You have to, as a human, I'm not sure about alien, but as a human, we need our blue sky and we need our green trees and grass. That's just fundamental needs for us. Yeah, or else you will go insane. And that's just the way it is. So, got to have green spaces. Anyways, now deck 8 will primarily be mostly abandoned. Large areas of the ship in this deck here won't have anything in them other than required, rooms that require systems like life support, shield, boosters, things like that. Just, your fundamental whatever goes on the deck that needs to go on there. The rest of the rooms will primarily be empty because there was one episode of Star Trek where I guess Deanna Troi said to somebody, "Oh, Deck 8 is mostly abandoned." They got their information from a woman who crashed the starship into a planet. So, yeah. Anyways, this deck will mostly be abandoned. Will mostly be empty for the most part. Except for the parts that aren't empty. You following me? You picking up what I'm putting down? Good. Because I still haven't wrapped my brain around it yet, but yeah. But again, no doors because reasons. Only the areas that I kind of half marked in, which can still be empty. I did put some doors in, and again, they can be moved-ish if they have to be moved-ish. But still having doors to avoid what happened with the original Enterprise D build where people decided to help out by filling in walls. If there was no door, they just filled in the entire room. There was one deck where there was about 20, 25 major rooms that had no access. You would just walk along, and then you'd stop and wait a minute, that was an awful long corridor. And then you just kind of bump through the wall a little bit and there'd be a whole bunch of rooms filled in, with walls and stuff, but no way to get into them. And I had to pull the deck out and put rooms in every one of the decks. And then that's when I found out that all the column alignment for the decks that I was quoted helped on, unquote, were vastly and horribly misaligned compared to the decks that I worked on. So I had to go back through and tear everything out and then put all the column spaces in, put all the doors in, then say, hey, can you guys put the walls in? And nobody did. They're like, F you. you took our work out. You can fix it. So I did. The original D, for the most part, apart from the work that Panic did and Appler did and Heller did, most of it was done by me. I'd say a good 80% of the remaining of the ship was done by me, with occasional generous helpings from other people. But yeah, I can tell you, pack a lunch if you're going to be working on one of these big ships, because you're going to be here all day, maybe for a week, 40 hours a week, and it's not a job, it's a hobby. Big difference. Hobbies you don't get paid for, jobs you do. And this is not a job. This is not employment. You cannot put this on your resume. Or can you? One never knows. Anyways, flying along here, Panic reworked the computer core. So the computer core is now reworked, and I went in and I redid all the center sections of the computer core area, starting right here. Also reworked the center section here as well. Originally, the way it was mocked up for the original concept, it just seemed clumsy. It just didn't fit. So when Pan said go ahead and just tear into it, rework the whole thing, I reworked this deck a little bit, and then I just came down here and I got rid of all the redundant, weird turbolift functionality, and I just simplified it. I made these 4 wide, so they're a little bit bigger. I centered them. Beforehand they were off center. I recentered them with the center of the ship, made them bigger so they fit, and instead of coming in here and then sort of really weirdly branching down in size, yeah, I just streamlined it and kept it as simple as possible. I also relocated this. This is the emergency turbolift from the bridge. Comes down here. I made it 3x3 instead of 2x3, which was really difficult to work with when it comes to alignment and things like that. And then I just let's go ahead and slow down here. And then I, repositioned it so it comes down into here, and then along here, along deck 8, or yeah, deck 8 here, and then it'll, because of the parking bay above us, we can't get into the saucer, or we should be able to get into the saucer at. So we had to relocate a lot of stuff and come up with an alternate way to get into the saucer. And you come this way here, and then you would go back up into the saucer. I think I have to, probably will have to on the main model as well. Interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and go up to the main model and see what happened here. This looks funky. Won't fix this. This actually might go into the ship here, but I doubt it will. So let's go ahead and fly up here. I think that's actually, we gotta make sure that this isn't messed up again here. So we'll just go ahead and come up in the ship. Hey, you learn stuff. Every time you work on something, every time you think it's perfect, and then you find out, yeah, there's a mistake made, and you got to figure it out. Okay, so here's this, and God damn it. God damn it. This was recently mirrored by, this got all broken up by someone. It wasn't me. I God damn it. It's an easy fix. Evidently somebody saw that over here was this, and because all of this was yeah, and you can see where it was mirrored. This got mirrored. There's no reason for me to mirror this section of the ship whatsoever. I mean, none whatsoever. This is what I mean about finding things changed. So now I gotta redo all of this and everything for this lift here. I'm glad we caught this. See how it's back to 2x3 again? Right here. So this was probably, God damn it. I just went through here and did all of this stuff, and it looks like everything I worked on has been 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 altered. See, even the hatches aren't even properly aligned now. All of this was done. Now I got to go back through and redo it again. And no, it wasn't a mirroring that I was responsible for, because I never worked on the center part of the ship. And you see the floor here? See this floor? It's at a different height than this up here. So this was done by somebody else that didn't understand why this is the way it is. And I guess they figured they would help me out again. And then after they did it, they realized, oh, maybe they made a mistake. I don't know what the deal is, and they didn't undo it. So that leaves me to have to figure it out. And see, this is the kind of stuff that happened over in the old Mindtrek server that used to just make me not want to work on things. And having to go back through and redo stuff over and over and over again, especially on the freaking Cobra head. What the hell's wrong with the Cobra heads? Are always effing cursed. But having to go back and redo stuff because people they don't see it, and they like, oh, this doesn't look right, I'll help out, and then they help out, and then you're left wondering what the hell happened and having to redo stuff that you shouldn't have to redo. This right here shouldn't be done. This kind of stuff should not be happening, but it happens, and there's no way to unhappen it once it happens except to go back through and fix it, which is extraordinarily annoying. So yeah, you can see the area I worked on is this right here. I did not, this was all done. It was already done. I pulled all this out of the ship. I mocked all this stuff up. It was done. And it's at nowhere near did I'm scratching my forehead. This is what I'm doing. I'm just scratching my head at this point. Just scratching my head. So, yeah. What the fuck? What the holy effing? Alright, so got some fixing to do. Got some fixing to do here, folks. Got to figure it out. Got to figure out what's going on here, why things ain't lining up. But yeah, you get to see me get mad, or at least you get to listen to me get mad and frustrated about stuff. I don't usually rage quit, but when I find things like this, I want to rage quit. I really do. I just want to throw my hands up and say, I'm done. We do this stuff voluntarily, so yeah. 6. So when things get borked like this, it can be very, 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 very frustrating to deal with. Well, that was an easy fix for that. So I have to come through and I have to, that means if it's done on this side, it's probably done on that side. And yeah. Why is this? Somebody was moving something. Every time. Every time. Hey, this will be a good lesson for folks. When you're working on a project and there's somebody else working on the project, try to avoid making changes while they're actively working on parts of the ship, because when you do, when they copy their stuff back in, or in my case, when I copy my stuff back in, it's going to conflict with the stuff you've been doing, and it's going to make a huge mess. So let's not do that, okay? Let's wait until I'm done messing stuff up, and then you can come in and fix it. How's that sound? That sound good to you? Because it sounds good to me. Yeah. I guess those are hatches for the engines to fall through, like bombs. Maybe? Possibly? Who knows? Anyways, yeah, that's sort of the update on the ship. Obviously, I've got some things I got to fix right now, so I'm going to go ahead and bounce off and redo, unfix the fix, and try to sort things out and figure out why it's going on. So obviously that happened and I didn't see it, didn't catch it because I'd already fixed that section of the ship like 2 weeks ago. So it was out of mind, out of sight, and it got fixed again. So I didn't catch it when I was pulling out deck 7 and deck 8, and obviously that's on me for not catching it. So yeah, and come down here. As you can see, the part I'm working on ain't down here because it's all not on this level. So yeah, yeah. Um, going to fix it starting here, and then I have to go fix it in the ship, of course. Very annoyed. Anyways, thanks for watching. Again, this is the TrekCraft server, currently running in 1.18.2. Please check it out, and if you're interested in joining and having some fun touring the ships, there are quite a few awesome builds ongoing, especially the one Screeper is working on, a couple of Calvin's working on, and the other folks are working on, Appler, and so forth. Come check them out. Very cool builds. Anyways, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.